standard or do some kind of funky business once they just find out where their opponent is, and that's generally how you play, like how pro players play. Like generally speaking, not always. They do kind of cheese, and they go into the game saying, "Okay, I'm going to cheese this game." But generally speaking, it's kind of like, okay, once I find my opponent, can I abuse what he's doing or the positions or something? Because that's a big factor that I think a lot of lower end players don't consider. Like who was it? I think he's in this game as well. Yeah, Nestle Darsani. He saw his Zerg opponent go gas before pool, so he's like, okay, I'm just gonna abuse this, and he decided to go, okay, I'm gonna cancel my gas, throw out an extra gateway, and go 2 gateway into Cyber and gas, and just throw on some extra pressure, and that forced Zerg to delay a hatchery that forced him to build some extra Zerglings, and then he was able to defend with those 2 gates against a horde of Zerglings. So I mean, he was pretty good off. And then did a 3-gate expand, and it actually worked out really well. It's just because he saw his opponent do X, and he decided, okay, I'm going to abuse that and do Y. So I mean, it just worked out really well. Anyways, it looks like Horrible here adding on that refinery before the barracks. Now this is not absolutely a horrible play. That just means you want the factory super fast. I mean, this is the build you want to do if you want to get the factory up as soon as the barracks is finished. Of course, that does delay your orbital command, so his economy is going to be hurting a little bit, but I mean, that means he can get out some super fast Hellions, which is going to be super awesome if he does it right. And, depending on what Plastic ends up doing, he could just end up not having any guys. The Hellions could just roll in and whatnot and kill him off a lot of things. But since he is going kind of a wall here, kind of a shitty wall, but he's going a wall here, he has his buildings in the fronts. He might be alright against it. I mean, that's really the only reason why you want to get a wall against Terran, if you think he's going to go Hellions. And that actually might be exactly what Horrible is doing in this game. Looks like he only has 2 guys in the gas. That's kind of surprising to me, because you can't afford your factory then. Or maybe you can. What? Okay, apparently he found this timing. Now, this is really interesting. I didn't think this could happen. Apparently he just sacrificed building SCVs. I'm not sure if Plastic kept up on building drones. Looks like he hasn't. But sacrificing SCVs to get up that orbital command as well as the factory is super fast. So I mean, that's really interesting that he was able to do that. I'm not sure if it's better than just getting up some SCVs and getting one or the other, and then just getting the factory or the orbital commands slightly later. But that's an interesting play to do, to be able to do both. Get out a whole bunch of Hellions, or whatever he wants to do with it. Sorry about that, I had to cough. Alright, so he's adding on a bunker as well. Alright, so he's going to fast starport. Now this is really interesting. He might be doing some kind of Hellion drop, super fast Hellion drop, which I've seen before, and I don't know if this is how you do it, but it was super effective against myself. And I saw a really good player do it, so I mean, it was just really good to see. Excuse me again. I'm drinking too much water. And Plastic here is just adding on too much energy on his Nexus. He really needs to spend that on his Chrono, on some gates or something. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't look like the best play we're seeing coming out of him right now. He's probably bronze. No offense to him, but he's just not, or in the Plastic League, maybe that's why his name is Plastic, but I don't know, he's adding on a couple more gateways now. He's not doing a wall, he's not doing, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that the wall is the best choice, but you already have a building here. He's going factory, so he might be going Hellions. So, I mean, it's just kind of something to consider. Anyways, Banshee is going to be popping out here. Does not have the cloak on the way. He can't afford it, spending all of his gas getting that tech lab. And a reactor even, so that's, 75 gas right there. So I can understand not adding on that cloak. But yeah, we'll see what he adds on with that factory. Now, this is just super different, because a lot of Terrans don't go mech against Protoss. I've seen it work. It's just not the strongest of plays against Protoss. I mean, you have to do it really carefully, and you might just die early on if you don't get enough Marines. So I mean, if you're going to do it, I would suggest having 2 barracks and then adding on a factory or 2 factories and expanding. That might be the best way to do it, but oh, what's this? I totally missed it. There is a Stargate in the back here, and it is producing a Void Ray. So this is like a proxy Void Ray. You used to see this a lot in the beta. I don't really see it much anymore. Um, especially on actually right when Zelnaga Caverns came out for the first time. That's when it became popular, and that's when I hated it. I hated that map because of that fact that they could just hide a starport in a million different places, and you had to scalp so many different places just to find it. Um, and then it could just kill you if you didn't find it. So that was just really annoying. And well, looks like he's gonna go back to his base with it. It's kind of strange to deal with that Banshee. Okay, so I guess that does make sense. To deal with the Banshee. If he has nothing else, he could just warp in his couple of Stalkers, but apparently he's just going to bring the Void Ray all the way back. Well, okay, he does have some guys out there. I definitely did not see that. Just going to be threatening the fronts, but they're pulled back now. He probably saw that bunker and was like, okay, I can't really go in there. I'm just going to be coming back to deal with that Banshee. Now, of course, since the Banshee is aerial and the Void Ray is also aerial, the Void Ray could possibly track it down and kill it off. Let's look at the movement speeds. 2.75 for Banshee, 2.25 for Void Ray, so the Banshee could get away, so never mind that. But looks like Protoss here doing a pretty good attack here. This is something you don't really see much anymore, but you used to see a lot. Just Void Rays in the front with Stalkers. Just get that vision of the Banshee, just break through there. I mean, that's something that used to be pretty common. And then you transition into something like Colossus, or, for the Marines. That was a pretty nifty build. You don't really see it anymore. You just see straight to Colossus with a lot of gateway units, so you don't die early on to a lot of Marines and Marauders. So this is like two old school builds type thing. Of course, what Horrible's doing isn't really old school. It's just kind of different because you didn't really see a lot of mech even in the early days against Protoss. And of course, players did experiment with it, so I mean, it was kind of there. But anyways. Looks like, well, the Void Ray is going to be just maybe picking off these Marines and doing some more damage. Terran does not have a lot of anti-air right now. It's just these Marines sitting out here. So, I mean, if he kills off those few Marines, he could really do a lot of damage. Kill off these 3 Marines with the ground forces, run them away, moving the Void Rays. But, of course, Marines do pop out pretty fast, so, I mean, you do have to be careful of that. Looks like he's just going to be healing up those tanks and going all in. It looks like he's going pretty much all in with this. Tons of SVs with that, tons of Banshees, tons of tanks. Actually, not that much, but enough to really do a lot of damage. Since Protoss pretty much does not have much at all. He doesn't have the best macro skills. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. We were all in Plastic League at some point in our lives, and well, those Banshees. I mean, I think this is pretty much going to win it, just because Plastic doesn't have enough to deal with it. With all those SVs repairing stuff. What were they doing in the corner? They must have been repairing each other. I don't know. But, well, he doesn't have any anti-air, so these Void Rays, possibly going to be able to do a bunch of damage. Of course, it looks like Horrible is adding another barracks in the middle of all this, so he's going to be able to get some more anti-air with that. But the starport here or Stargate is not adding on any more Void Rays, so, I mean, actually, Plastic here's lost a lot of probes, so, I mean, it's really not much you can do other than try to get him back and try to add on some guys here. Terran even building on a missile turret in the middle of Protoss's base, right in the main base. And actually, the SV got killed off before it was finished, but yeah, now it's up. And, well, these Banshees have like a billion kills. They actually both have, actually, no, this one only has 17, this one has 6. And yeah, Plastic gave him the GG. Horrible taking the win there, and a fairly good game there. Not the best of people to play, but, very interesting strategies from both of them, so. Alright, so we have Lime Pirates spawn at the, well, it's the 9 o'clock position here, and he is our blue-gray Protoss player. So, I was going to bet on him since his name's pretty awesome. And we are up against Horrible, who just won the last game against Plastic, who lost, because he went Stargate, and, 3-gate Stargate, which is fine. But he just did not have enough guys and lost a lot of guys to Banshee while he was moving out. Very good timing by Horrible. And now Horrible still Terran. I almost said Terrain. But looks like he's probably going to be adding on Supply depot right at the wall. Not a big deal. Let's see if we can communicate with him. So I believe it's the same guy. Yeah, here he is. I'm just gonna let him know that he's on my F list. Well, it's Protoss against Terran, and Protoss apparently is going to be walling in again. Once again, friends list. Once again, you only really want to wall in against like Hellions, otherwise it's not a good play. And of course, if you just get out some Stalkers early on in a Sentry or something, something early on, you're going to be fine against Hellions anyways. So that doesn't even matter. It's just not even a good play to do against Terran. It's only something you want to do against Zerg. But anyways, looks like Horrible adding on two barracks here. So no gas, going to be adding on 2 barracks, maybe doing a 2 barracks expand, which would totally be safe because you could move across the map. Terran doesn't really need the wall off here. You can just to hide tech like he is against probes, but it's kind of unnecessary as well. Just in this matchup, you don't need a wall, period. But you can deny scouting with it, so it is useful. But at the same time, it's just more susceptible to dying. So it's just kind of one of those things that's one or the other. Looks like that SV did kind of deny that Cybernetics core from going up right exactly on time. It's just slightly late. No big deal. Apparently he's not even getting SVs. Oh, he's getting Orbital Command. Of course he's not getting SVs because that's upgrading. All that good stuff. Oh, okay, wow, he's going 3 racks here. This is something I do not agree with in these positions. This is just a bad idea in these positions. Apparently Plurples can be lagging a little bit, but by the time you get to the Protoss base, you're not going to be able to really do much because he's going to have enough guys out, Just the travel distance is so great that you need like a bunch of extra guys, and this early on, you're not going to have those extra guys. And if you do it later, he's going to have enough tech to get Stalkers and whatnot out to deal with Marines anyway. So it's not even the best play. But if he expands behind it, I can see it working if he just gets a ton of command centers. It's not the best play in the world, but it does work against a little bit, like maybe a platinum player will lose to it if you do it well. But we'll see. Well, he's actually going to go all in with this. He's pulled off some SCVs. Now, since Protoss has this wall up here, he can just put down. He pretty much. Well, I guess even without the wall, he just force field it, and he could be just perfectly fine. But we'll see if Lime adds on some more gates or not. He definitely has the money for it. Definitely should be adding on some more gates. He's just not. So now that the gates are late, these Marines could actually just kill him with these SVs. So not exactly the best play, but more Marines are being added on here. I wonder if his rally is at the bottom or not, because that does make a big difference. It does cut back on travel time. If you're waiting the group up at your main instead of at his base, it just it's just one of those things. So anyways, here it comes, a bunch of SVs, a bunch of Marines, and apparently he's going to catch that Zealot. Zealot's not even going to fight back. He's just going to say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to die. I don't want to hurt you, so here you go. Oh, there's an army in my base. But well, looks like Terran's gonna win this one because apparently Protoss is not gonna pull off all of his probes. He definitely should have. And yeah, now he just needs to move on, kill off some more probes, and that is that. So I don't know. This just it looks terrible. And I don't like just sitting here ranking on people, but it's kind of bad. Kind of bad. More Marines even coming in. Looks like 2 production cycles. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people are kind of scared to use probes to attack. Now, if you use SCVs or probes or drones with your normal force to attack, if you don't think your normal force can, or defend, I guess, if you don't think your normal force can handle his army, that's going to make your army much stronger just to absorb damage, and you're spreading it across so many different units. So, you're going to lose a lot less guys. If you just have your main force and your main force beats his force, you're going to have less guys than if you used your drones as well, or your SCVs or whatever. And then, of course, if you lost your forest to his main forest,